Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very exciting video to get into because we have the rumors, we have the updates, but we have some massive, and multiple of them, massive leaks, and these are kind of coming directly from Nintendo. All very exciting stuff. Let's go and get right into it. So we were actually about to hit that turning point. I mean, we have to remember the Switch 2 only came out at the beginning of June, but it does feel like news is not coming out as frequent as we would like, or like the status of that news, like the announcement size. It's like, oh, some stuff's being announced, but I don't really care. I think that's all going to change in September, and we have proof of it in this video, as well as some crazy leaks, man. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Instagram so we can keep our communities growing. Consider becoming a channel member, and stay tuned to the end of the video so you can learn how to win some eShop gift cards or potentially a Switch 2. Now let's go ahead and get into it. First, let's talk about a little update that I guess came from Gamescom, and it's kind of just highlighting a major problem that the Switch 2 currently has, and that is the lack of games, or lack of games coming out, and that is directly a result of no dev kits. There's an article going around, and I think it came from a recent Digital Foundry podcast, but it says lots of devs at Gamescom said they aren't able to get Switch 2 dev kits. There are even weird exclusions for some big AAA developers. And then I think Nate the Hate kind of like tacked onto this and highlighted the same issues, saying that he heard the same stuff. This is crazy. I've always said, leading up to the release of the Switch 2, I get it. Nintendo is plagued by leaks, and you want to keep everything hush-hush? Don't put a lot of dev kits out. But now you have the fastest selling console in history. You have the opportunity to make you and a bunch of other companies and developers very happy, and the consumers very happy, but you're shooting yourself in the foot for what reason? So this isn't great news, but again, we're hearing the same things over and over, and I wonder what the underlying reason really is. But who cares, right? Because we have some Nintendo Directs coming out very soon, and we have a bunch of evidence for these Directs. In yesterday's video, I talked about the new dual release of Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle and Sparks of Hope. That is coming out September 18th, and it mentions a Switch 2 version. So my theory is that will be announced at the Mario 40th Anniversary Direct, and I said that will probably be like September 11th. But if you remember Switch Force, which I think is a YouTuber, I'll be honest, I don't really watch any gaming YouTubers because I do this kind of stuff. There's probably like a handful of them I watch, so I don't know if they're a YouTuber, forgive me. But they did accurately predict the indie world, and now they're saying that the next direct will happen on a weird day, and now they're hinting at September 12th. So people are thinking that's probably Mario's 40th anniversary, and that makes sense to me. But we also now have VGC corroborating that a Nintendo Direct is in fact happening in the middle of September. So all of this is lining up perfectly, and if I had to guess, well, it's not like a crazy guess, but that will probably be Mario's 40th anniversary. Now, something I think Nintendo could do is a dual direct. They do a huge first party or that general direct, and then the last 15 minutes are reserved for Mario's 40th anniversary, and make it 45 minutes long. And that would be freaking awesome. I mean, we just got a Kirby Air Riders 45-minute direct, so never say never. But I think I found even more evidence coming directly from Nintendo that it is in fact going to be that Mario 40th Anniversary Direct. So I was searching up trademarks, and I found this trademark for Super Mario Bros. Now normally it will say like goods and services or merchandising or whatever. This one doesn't say anything at all, at least I can't see it saying anything. But this was filed November of last year, and the status is October 14th, 2025. So 11 days from the day I'm recording this video. I'm recording this August 25th. Timing kind of impeccable, right? And the fact that it doesn't say really what it is, it's just for something Super Mario Bros. Related, just saying it's all kind of lining up. But if you remember, maybe a week or two ago, we talked about how Neshuito said Super Mario Bros. Wonder is getting an official Switch 2 version, or at least he thinks they are, and they were re-recording or adding more voice acting for that game. So that's like, well, that seems pretty legit. Well, we also have this trademark for just this. It just shows the flower. But obviously, that is the Super Mario Bros. Wonder flower. This was filed February 21st, and this went live July 8th. So again, the timing all kind of lining up. It's not crazy to think that they're going to do something for Mario's 40th anniversary, but it's like, we see all this evidence for a Direct. We're seeing all this evidence for something happening for Mario. I think we're going to have like a crazy, crazy Mario 40th anniversary. The 35th anniversary, in my opinion, was amazing. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, 3D All-Stars, Super Mario, what was it called? Super Mario 35, like the eShop game, and the cool Game & Watch. And maybe that's when they started showing off the Mario movie. I really can't remember. But it was a really cool event. This time, I could see it being like all that plus more. Obviously, the new Mario movie coming out next year. Super Mario 3D All-Stars 2 with Galaxy 2 and maybe some other cool stuff. Another Game & Watch, some cool eShop stuff. A bunch of Switch 2 versions of Mario games, Switch 2 upgrades of Mario games. The possibilities are endless, and we don't really have much longer to wait. Now, quickly before we get into some other leaks, man, dude, I gotta show you something so freaking funny. One thing I like to do is also look up dead or canceled trademarks to see stuff Nintendo was working on, but it didn't work out. So then maybe this will work out in the future, and you can just get a cool idea of stuff. So as you can see, I was searching Super Mario World. These are dead, canceled, or abandoned. Not all of this is going to have to do directly with Super Mario World. Maybe somebody's name was Mario or something, but it's not the point. So we have Super Mario right here, and then right here we have lesbian vampires. What are we doing here? How do we get this? How do we get this made into a game right now? These are the questions we need to ask. We need to sign petitions. We gotta get on this right away. Okay, now that is out of the way, there is gonna be multiple directs in September. That's just what I'm thinking and everybody else is thinking. One thing we can expect in that general direct is Switch 1 games getting official Switch 2 versions or Switch 2 upgrades. This isn't a crazy thing to assume. One series that I think this is going to happen for, and I can see it happening for the entire series right away, is the Xenoblade games. So, I mean, this just sounds like a win-win to everybody. Monolith Soft wins, Nintendo wins, the consumer wins. Very simple. Well, maybe, just maybe, Monolith Soft just showed off a Switch 2 version of Xenoblade 2. So, Monolith Soft posted a hiring ad on Twitter with a GIF of Xenoblade 2 cutscene that noticeably has different lighting and better background details, possibly taken from a remaster Switch 2 edition. And I read this and I thought, maybe. But then after seeing it, I'm like, whoa, that's exactly what this is. So shout out to this person right here, Glimmer, girl who's obsessed, whatever, for like showing the comparisons. So this is the original Xenoblade 2. And then right here is the GIF that Monolith Soft showed off. And you're like, whoa, that looks actually really good. And then here is the still shot of this GIF. The lighting is way better. You can see the background like way, way better. It just looks like a night and day difference, truly. And then when you actually play the GIF and you compare these two right here, like side by side, this looks phenomenal. So if I had to guess what this is, I don't think this is a Switch 2 version of Xenoblade 2. I think this is just a Switch 2 upgrade, 60 frames per second, HDR, and something else. I forgot what else they're able to do. But just a free Switch 2 upgrade, and that's all we could really expect at this point. I have some theories that we're going to get a new Xenoblade announcement for a new game this year. So this would be the perfect way to lead up to that. You know what I mean? But don't worry, we have more. Now, currently, the Switch 2 is the more affordable option. I mean, just all the way around. The Xbox, I think, got raised up to $600. Maybe the PS5 is now $550. The base Switch 2 is $450. Yes, it's expensive, but compared to its counterparts, it's the budget console. But what if the Switch 2 was like $100 cheaper? Well, if that was the case, that would dominate the market. Even though it already is, it's like, at that price point, it's really hard to argue against. And that might be happening. So shout out to Mike Odyssey over on Twitter for finding this. I look at patents every Tuesday and Thursday, but I've been sick, so my head is a little cloudy. and somehow I missed this. But essentially, it looks like a Switch 2 Lite. And he's saying like the USB-C ports, like where they're positioned at, that's a telltale sign. And he's also saying up here that this would be a great and affordable way to play all these games, and that's exactly what I'm saying. But yeah, 100%, that's exactly what this looks like. And then also right here, he's saying that he never sees Nintendo do this many updates like back to back, and he thinks 100% like something is in the works. And I have to say, I agree. Now the question I have is, do we get the Switch Lite before the Switch OLED? Normally I would say we get the Switch 2 OLED first, because it's probably going to have a better battery and just a better screen. That's what people want. But I do think the Switch 2 is going to get a price increase to $500. I just think it's going to happen the way the world is turning to shit currently. That's probably what's going to happen. So if Nintendo raised the Switch 2 price to $500, well, then you could have the Switch 2 Lite be $350, and then that looks like the way more affordable option. And then eventually we get the Switch 2 OLED, and that's like $550. I know all this sounds crazy. These prices are insane, don't get me wrong. This sucks, dude. Going from $300 and $200 consoles to $350, $450, $500, $550, it's just such a huge increase, especially when people aren't making more money. You know what I mean? People are making the same amount of money, just spending double on shit. It's horrible. But I think this would be a great way for Nintendo to hit all sides of the market. You have people who can afford it, you have people who want the premium product, which will be the OLED, and you also have people who can only afford the budget option, and that would be the Switch 2 Lite. Just saying, sounds pretty enticing. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because your opinion matters most. So in the comments below, I would love to hear from you guys. If you made it to this part of the video, hit a like and subscribe. Follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram. That would be cool. Consider becoming a channel member. And remember, every single Saturday, I give away multiple eShop gift cards right here in eShop Sell Videos. And I do Switch 2 giveaways. All you have to do is support the community, like and subscribe, comment, follow social media, all that good stuff, man. And you guys know me. I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.